You are listening to the Outlaw Podcast with me, your host, Andrea Hall. I am a certified equine gestalt coach, speaker, 3-time author, and lawyer. I help women lawyers who are miserable in their career, struggling with mental and emotional health issues, wanting to have fun in their lives, and struggling to be selfish. After fulfilling my dream of being a criminal defense attorney and opening my own law practice right out of law school, I thought I had it all. While at the height of my career, my 18-month-old puppy died, and I thought, what am I killing myself for? Sometime later, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and my world turned upside down. It was in that moment I realized something had to change. This podcast is about sharing my journey with you about what is possible in your life outside the legal profession, stopping the adulting, and being able to play as a child, inspiring you to dream again. Let the journey begin. Welcome back to another episode of Outlaw. I'm your host, Andrea Hall. Suicide, a 7-letter word that no one ever wants to hear. Well, unfortunately, it's that time of year where the stress level in the legal profession is starting to rise once again. In the legal world, or at least in the criminal defense arena, things slow down typically from November until January, mid-January, towards the end of January. And it's not because the criminals actually take a break over the holidays, yet it just seems that the docket slows down this time of year. And I think that's because the clients that do get picked up, their case is not set on the docket until after the new year. Judges slow down because of the holidays, and lawyers take a little bit of a reprieve to spend time with their loved ones. Yet with that being said, it seems that our profession has a very high rate of depression, drug and alcohol abuse, and suicide. I just recently read an article that said lawyers are times more likely to suffer from depression than non-lawyers. 3.6 times more likely to suffer from depression. And this is according to the American Psychological Association. Substance abuse rates within the legal profession are also much higher than with the general population. Clinical depression and substance abuse are highly correlated to suicide rates, and the legal industry is the 11th highest profession when it comes to incidences of suicide. And some of those contributing factors to suicide are depression, anxiety, job stress, unfulfilled expectations. And I talked about some of these factors on a prior episode of Outlaw, where clients think that I'm some sort of magician, and that I should be able to pull a rabbit out of my ass. We also have this perceived sense of failure, and this, I cannot tell you, was huge for me in my career as a criminal defense attorney. This sense of failure to my clients, that I somehow failed them if I was not able to get them the grandiose deal that they thought they should have, or that I thought that they should have based on the facts and circumstances of the case, or that my client was actually going to go to prison as a result of the deal or lack thereof. And I don't know if there's anybody else out there in our profession that can relate to one or more of these factors that I just talked about. Anxiety, job stress, unfulfilled expectations, and this perceived sense of failure. Those are all huge in our profession. And according to Rachel Fry, who is a clinical psychologist who was quoted in this article, she's from Brigham, Alabama. She works with lawyers, and her comment in there was that lawyers tend to score higher in pessimistic thinking, which often results in higher success rates and becoming a better lawyer, which is great, yet it's such a double-edged sword. This also then in turn causes severe anxiety and depression, right? So on the one hand, you can be a great lawyer and have high success rates, yet your anxiety and depression is through the roof. And I know, and I've talked to others, we are actually trained to think like this. I wasn't born like this. I was trained to think like this. I spent a lot of money and a lot of years in school to have this thought process, this, like she talks about, this pessimistic thinking. And I was also expected to work and be successful in adversarial situations. There's no other profession that is constantly at odds with each other. I don't think the medical industry, dentists, teachers, who are they fighting against? Yet in my profession, I'm constantly fighting against somebody, whether it's a pro se client, whether it's another lawyer, whether it's a lawyer and a client, whether it's a prosecutor, whether it's the judicial system, whether it's the cops, whether it's the legislature because they're now enacting a new law or they've changed the law. There is this constant push-pull in the legal system. And if it wasn't worse, I don't know what it would be. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. And when I get back to this thought process of we're expected to be successful, I have clients tell me all the time that you're the worst lawyer that they've ever hired if you don't get them the results that they want. In fact, I see it every day with lawyers on other Facebook groups that get the deal that the client wanted, and then afterwards the client bitches about it and says, now can you change this or add that? And it's like, I got you everything you said you wanted, and now you want to backtrack from that? It's so frustrating. I am also expected to keep unpredictable schedules and be available 24 hours a day and on weekends. What other profession requires that unpredictability? When your phone rings at 1 o'clock in the morning because someone's sitting in jail or just gotten arrested for a DUI, they're expecting a lawyer to answer the phone. They're expecting to have answers at 1 o'clock in the morning. I don't know anybody who can call the emergency room at 1 o'clock in the morning and talk to the nurse that's in the emergency room and expect answers. Most of the time, they're going to tell you have to come in and see the doctor. The doctor's office is only open regular business hours, yet for some reason, we as lawyers are expected to see clients on the weekend or on holidays or after business hours. And there's no other profession that requires that level of schedule and unpredictability. And no one ever gave us the tools to deal with these high expectations or the stress that comes along with clients looking at going to prison for the rest of their life, clients getting their kids taken away from them, going to jail because someone made a false claim or picked up the phone and called the police and lied about something. They didn't teach us that in law school. Hell, they still aren't teaching it now in continuing education classes. There is nothing to set our profession up for success when it comes to some of these things. And all of these things that I just previously talked about predispose me and our profession to chronic stress, depression, and disease. And let me just break down the word disease. Dis-ease is your body at dis-ease. That's nothing more than what disease is. Your body at dis-ease. And unfortunately, we as society just go, okay, well, I'll go to the doctor and they'll give me a pill for that. Yet we never want to get to the root cause of what is actually putting our body at dis-ease. And lawyers are also expected to be the ultimate problem solver. And there's no room for being human or having an error. And again, some sort of superhero or magician we're expected to be. And I don't know that even the medical profession is expected to have that high level of standard. I, wish that they had some sort of class in law school that would have taught me how to be a magician. Hell, I would have taken it twice if it had been offered. We also have this stigma around mental health. And because of this stigma, it then discourages lawyers who are held to this high standard to have any sort of discussion about these issues that may arise or their ability to seek care. And it's very unfortunate because we as lawyers are continuing to fight for our clients who have mental health issues, yet we stand behind a closed door and crumble when it's our life that is needing the mental health help. Chronic stress and depression often create triggers such as unhealthy behaviors, which include substance abuse, personal problems, divorce, custody issues, trust account issues, other sort of addictions, shopping, sex, and all of these can lead to suicide or suicidal ideations. And I know my own name, that my horses and I can help, because it helped me deal with some of these things that I talked about here today in this episode of Outlaw. It helped me deal with some of these factors. This profession is so hard on us mentally, emotionally, and physically. And I can provide a solution that is both instantaneous and forever lasting, that will allow you to respond in moments of situations where you're being triggered instead of being in a reactive state. Let me state that again. The horses and I can offer you a solution that is instantaneous and long-lasting, and I would even go so far as to say almost forever, to allow you an opportunity to respond to a trigger or a stressor versus reacting to that. I offer free moment of truth sessions, and I am a firm believer that the whisper of the horse echoes the spirit of the soul. Don't be afraid to choose you. There is no time like the present to work on you this year. It is the year of perfect vision. I'm going to include the link to the full article if some of what I have talked about is of interest to you. However, suicide is definitely a 7-letter word that no one ever wants to hear. And unfortunately, our profession is very high. As I stated earlier, we are number 11 when it comes to suicide in professions across the board. And it's not talked about, and it's not shared with me or shared in this episode lightly. I've had colleagues that are near and dear to me commit suicide, and I've had clients who have committed suicide as a result of the stress of being in the criminal justice system. So I am a firm believer that there is help, and people in our profession are crying for it. So I want to do my part and be a light in this mental health arena. So if what I have said today is something that resonates with you, I would love to be your light. Thanks for tuning into another episode of Outlaw. Thanks for tuning into another episode of Outlaw. There is life after litigation. If anything I said in this episode resonates with you, call for a free exploratory session to see how I can help you. My horses will give you instantaneous feedback, unlike traditional talk therapy. You will shift your awareness into real time with the help of a horse. The horses are like lie detectors, flushing out limiting beliefs with a swish of their tail, a shift of their 1,200-pound body, or a simple unwillingness to move. Horses have a way of seeing into the window of our souls. Horses have been connected to humanity since the dawn of time. Their hearts can heal and mend our broken hearts. Simply standing in their presence can change our lives forever, putting the puzzle pieces back together and returning us to wholeness. Horses are restoring the parts of us that have been missing. You can call us at 970-682-4405 to set up your appointment today. Want to be inspired daily? See about our latest events or purchase a copy of my books? Go to our website at www.witherswhisper.com. That's www.witherswhisper.com. Or you can follow us on any social media venue at Withers Whisper. Until the next episode, listen to the whispers.